All right, guys, thank you for joining me for a Fisherman's Tale. As we get ready to cover design covers. Once again, I'm Chris Nelms. I work at or I write for CBSI, comicbookinvest.com. This is my videos that go with a Fisherman's Tale. If you catch my articles on Sunday, I write about anything and everything that comes into my head. I get curious about a lot of things, and sometimes I just like to write about it and sort of share with you all what. And sometimes you like them, sometimes you don't. And that's okay. But this time I'm looking at design covers. I just got curious. Part of the reason I got curious, I started thinking back to my childhood and started looking at my mom gave me some of my books from when I was little, and one of them was happened to be How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. This is a great book. If you didn't have this growing up, I'm sorry. It's just wonderful. I remember spending hours sitting there. I had my little spiral notebook, and I just draw Spider-Man and Thor and the Thing, and I draw them in different poses because you could turn the page and be Spider-Man running and Spider-Man fighting. It was a pretty fun little book to have. I had other ones. I think I had DC ones as well, but this one I still remember because it says by Stanley, and I just thought that was so cool. Then you also look at this Moon Knight book. When I was starting to do some research into design character covers, I even shot you guys in IG World, and I shot in Facebook and Twitter. If you guys follow me, you can Instagram. It's right there, Tails underscore CBSI. You can catch me there. On Facebook, if you go to the Comic Book Invest group, you can find it there. But also, and then in Instagram or Twitter, it's Fisherman's Tale. You can find me on all those different places. But uh, this Moon Knight cover, this is what I drew when I was growing up. I drew these characters just sort of standing there looking like action figures poses, and then you have a little line saying, "Here's their laser eyes. Here's their super samurai sword. Here's their invisibility cloak," and you just draw all those little lines, and somehow that made these characters more powerful. I just distinctly remember doing that, and that was just something I did. So that's sort of what got me thinking about these design covers as I was looking at them, and then just sort of curious as I was doing the research. Do any of them have any value? Another reason I sort of got was curious about these design covers when I was thinking about them is because of these. These things have been some of the hottest books here lately as they come out. Especially the Punchline book came out about maybe a month ago now, and it's a 1 for 25 variant. That's the purple one down there in the bottom beside Catwoman. Punchline. It's just she's the hottest character out there, and this is her first cover. The art germ cover and her. These both came out for the same issue 92 of Batman. It's a 1 for 25, and DC really wasn't playing the ratio variant game, so that's why these are more valuable. But of course, they had so long to order them. Everyone has one, and but when I looked on eBay, most of these, the Punchline ones in particular, are 40, 45 bucks. When you look at the few of the other ones, ratio or even below ratio, the Joker one, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, those haven't come out yet. Those I imagine will carry more value, being 1 for 25, but just those are characters that people really know and care about and like, and so I could see those being worth a little bit more and going for over ratio. And but the thing is now, every store that knows they're going to get one already listed on eBay for double ratio, so it's more of a can you wait and find that perfect window, which is about week 3 or week 4 after a book comes out. If it's going to drop in price, that's sort of when it drops because every store's like, man, I got to get my money because I haven't been able to sell. I know stores around me, one store I think had like 3 copies of the latest one, 1 for 25. So that tells me he bought 75 copies of Batman 94. 75 copies for a small store when there's 4 other stores in town. I don't think he has that big of a purchase that's going to buy his 75 copies of Batman just so he could get those 3 variants. So that's the design. Let's look at a couple others. This is probably the oldest design variant I could find. Now, if you guys had helped me out and I could have found more, then maybe there's more out there. But this is Wolverine Origins 40. It's a 1 for 25 variant by Bianchi, however you say his name. It's gorgeous. I sent it to an art buddy, a friend of mine, and this just reminds us of Leonardo da Vinci. If you open up one of his sketchbooks, this is a beautiful cover. I looked this up on eBay. 2 sells in the $45-50 range, and then there's one listed right now for 84, and that's it. This is one that it's so old it might slip through the cracks, and you could score it for cheap. But 42,000 were printed, but how many stores would have ordered 25 copies of Wolverine Origins 40? It's one thing to order 25 copies of Wolverine's Origin 10, but of issue 40, not as much. This just angers me when I look at this comic. I don't know if you fell into the trap of Amazing Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man guy, so I'm going to buy the issues anyways. But this is 74, 75, 76. Even though I was getting the main covers, they went variant crazy at this point. And by 79, 798 and 99, it was just ridiculous. But this is a 1 for 10. It came out and was super hot because Red Goblin everyone wanted it. Everyone thought he was the best bad guy, and they were so cool, and they wanted to know more about him. And people went crazy. So it's a 1 for 10. As soon as it sold at stores, it was selling for 15, 20, $25 as a 1 for 10. But it probably climbed into the $50 range. Maybe 9/8 were selling for 75 and 100. But guess what? eBay has it listed for 10. One sold for 5. It makes me upset because I think two of them. One I bought for maybe $5, so not too terrible. But I did pay 10 or 15, I think, for one. So it's not like I'm going to sell them because I'm not going to get my money back. So it's just sort of frustrating, and that's the catch you run into when you start chasing variants. There's always these windows, and if you speculate, you know that, and you've learned when to get rid of stuff and when to hold on to stuff, and just live with the fact that out of every 10 books you buy to flip, you're going to have 3 to 4 that aren't going to be you were lucky to get your money back on. This is one that has steadily climbed, and all of us in comic book speculation world have sort of said, finally. This book, I loved it. It's one of those. I mean, of course, it's Edge of Spider-Verse 2, but this is a third print. First print, of course, is easily a 250 book, depending on grade. It's climbing into the 500-600, and then of course you have the land variant that's just at 1,000. I mean, it's just if you have one, you can't decide, is it worth it? Do you want to sell? Do you want to keep? I wish I had a land variant. I have all 1 through 5 of these variants, the prints. I have all 1 through 5, but I don't have the land. Um, Great cover, design cover. It's climbing in the $75, $85 range. I don't see it dropping back down. By the time this third print came out, it would. I imagine she's probably been in at least 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know for sure, but she's. This would be like her third or fourth. I don't know how you view prints or whatever. So it's not, but it's a great cover. It's just a fun cover. If I'm thinking design variants, this is what I think of as being one to have if you could have it. This is one that threw me off. I wasn't prepared, and this is the one I'm starting to end on. This is Angela Asgard's Assassin #1. Uh, if you don't know who the Angela is, Angela was one of those. It's sort of those fun characters that was created in Spawn issue 9, and hopefully you guys know who that is. There's a well overprinted book, but it's easily a $15, $25 to $100 book, depending on, because it has a white cover. It's hard to get a good grade on, but a high grade one goes for in the hundreds. Newsstand of that's just super hard to find of issue 9 of Spawn. But Angela appeared in Spawn, and she lasted through, I think, issue 100. And then there's disputes between who owned the character, and it went back and forth and everything like that. And eventually, somehow, Marvel ended up getting the character and bought the character. And so Angela's ended up a first appearance in Age of Ultron 10, the last splash page. She comes in right into Age of Ultron. That's the only reason to read any of the Age of Ultron books. But this is a beautiful series with covers by Stephanie Hans. But this is a 1 for 100 design variant. Now it doesn't sell for it sells for about between 50 and 75 ungraded. If you can find a graded copy, they look like they sell for around, or they list for around 150 to 200. So it's one of those, if you get a good 9.8 grade on this, then they can sell. But there aren't a whole lot of them, because I'm not sure how many stores you would buy, even though it's a first issue of Angela Asgard, because you're talking a character that wasn't hugely known, wasn't hugely popular in the Marvel world. Now, yeah, Spawn, people knew who she was, but how would that translate? By this point of this issue, I think she had been Age of Ultron, then she appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Bendis Star-Lord run, I think issue 5, and then she was in several issues of that. And then they came out with this series. So it was never a high seller. I don't even know if it went 10 issues. But guys, thanks. This is my favorite 5. I'm gonna try to do this for most of my articles, nice short little videos, and hopefully you'll like them. Thanks for watching.